Hey everybody, it's Dr. Drake 63 here today. Gonna show you a Smith & Wesson. This is the model 36. This is a -7. It's made in the early 90s. This is a 38 Special revolver. 38 Special Smith & Wesson. This is not identified as being a plus P model like this guy is, but this is another J frame. You've seen this airweight a couple of videos here recently, and I like the size of it so much. I wanted to have another one, but I wanted something that was a little bit more iconic. So specifically, I had to go to the used market. Found one that had a couple older style items on it that I like from the makers at Smith & Wesson. So this is not a plus P rated firearm. Couple things to note. If you look at that hammer right there, you'll notice the firing pin is mounted on it. Okay, so that comes into direct contact with your primer, whereas this newer model Smith & Wesson does not have a firing pin mounted on the hammer. There's a transfer bar mechanism, you see right there. So this hits that comes into contact with the primer and it makes it go off. A couple other things. Trigger pull, almost the same in terms of the weight. This one stages differently. This is the 637. See if I can do it slow enough that you can detect. Try it again. Again, this one. So not quite as long a trigger pull. But this is the, to some people, what's called the iconic Chief's Special. I don't think this one was shot much. It doesn't have a lot of wear on it. There's a, kind of see right here where my thumb is that the bluing is faded a little bit back here on the frame, but only in a certain light do you see that. But this is in very good shape. And I don't think this has been shot much at all. And like I said, it's not rated as a plus P firearm. However, for carry purposes, I wouldn't have any problem putting a plus P round in there. And I say for carry purposes. In other words, you know, you wanna shoot, make sure you know that it functions well in the gun in terms of aiming and so forth. Great. Do you want to go to the range and shoot round after round a plus P? I have been advised no, because there's a good chance that you'll wear out your internals a little bit quicker and get a sloppy take up. You'll see right here, this is a very, very tight lockup. I can't budge that a bit. Very tight lockup. Compare that to a brand new, you know, maybe 100 rounds through it lockup situation. This actually has a little bit more, but not much at all. It's definitely not sloppy, but it definitely, you can get a little bit of movement on this cylinder. You can get none on this. So this is aluminum alloy frame, stainless steel. What's called the crane here is made out of stainless steel. The cylinder stainless steel, as is the barrel. Whereas here, this entire frame, as well as the cylinder, the crane, the barrel, are made out of steel. couple other differences to note. This has that old school kind of grip and grip frame on it, where you'll notice this is very thin, very thin. Okay, and you can visually see that with these newer models. Okay, so most of the difference there is going to be in the thickness, which you can see. Okay, now I'm not going to put a rubber grip on this. I'm not going to do anything to change this from what is a classic configuration for this firearm. I'm not going to do anything. I did tell you one thing wrong. I told you the grip frame is exactly the same. It's just the grips that are thicker. You can see right here, it stops right here. The frame runs up inside of these grips, whereas here it's exposed in the front. But that's where your difference is. But everything else about these guns is almost identical. This weighs a few ounces more. Not noticeable to me. Maybe carrying it all day I might notice, but I wanted to get another one of these, just mostly to have and alternate in a pocket carry kind of scenario. Now, if I'm gonna pocket carry this guy every day, I'm gonna be in a situation where you know, we're going to start seeing some wearing and some things that currently aren't there. This has been, for the most part, sitting in somebody's safe, and being not shot much since, I believe this is 1994. So something like this, with aluminum frame with stainless steel, is going to show a lot less wear. It's going to probably look new 5 years from now with the daily pocket carry. So but I saw this advertised on Arms List locally, and this belonged to a retired policeman who knows his stuff. We did our transaction and then spoke in the parking lot for about an hour afterwards about ballistics and experience and things like that. And funny comment he made when I was asking him about ballistics on these 38s. He said in his years, whether it be in autopsies or arriving on the scene or being involved in situations, it was always about shot placement and not who had the bigger, badder bullet. So this guy worked for the Bureau of Crime and Apprehension. Prior to that, he was a sheriff in a smaller town in northern Minnesota, and he was of the philosophy that the purpose of your handgun is to get you to your rifle. So maybe some learning for some of the guys that like to engage in the whole let's argue about ballistics conversations. I don't think I'd carry both of these guys at once. Probably if I'm going to carry two firearms, one of them is going to be a higher capacity affair, but either one of these is going to fit fine in this. This is a Blackhawk size 4. Fits in the pocket. Does a really good job, and for you guys that are worried about your trigger getting hung up, that's not something that happens. It covers the trigger nicely, covers the hammer nicely, so you can get this in and out of a pocket without that kind of interference. And then of course you have this, which I've talked about in previous videos. This is for in the waistband, and it makes for a very, very compact little package. Doesn't print any of that. So a couple different options holster wise. So as you can see, this is a nifty little firearm. It's very easy to conceal. Again, it's 5 shots. You know, we've had that discussion on this channel. Is it optimal in a gunfight? No. For self-defense, for the vast preponderance of self-defense situations, this will handle your situation. Okay. comparing it to this particular modern version of the J-frame, you know, this without a doubt is a sturdier and stouter weapon. However, this one's rated for plus P, this one is not. I'd like to understand that a little bit better at some point, but again, I don't have a need to do anything other than really just carry in plus P for this. But I think this is a great little gun. I'm glad I got it, and I got it for what I consider to be a deal based on what I've seen in terms of what these are going for. These no-lock particular firearms are going for. I got a pretty good deal on it, so I'm happy about it. So, want to thank you for watching again. Once again, here's Dr. Drake talking to you about a new firearm, or at least new for me. Smith & Wesson, Model 36.